Hi there. What's up, y'all? It took a really long time to get to these Riddler missions, these final Riddler hostage rooms. You need to solve 400 riddles. And that's not just the trophies, there's riddles all over the place. And of course there's Catwoman trophies too, which there's 40 of those, but let's say you didn't get the Catwoman DLC when you got this game, you can still do it. You just have to complete every single riddle for Batman that there is in the game, which, again, some are really easy and some are damn near impossible. They can be done, but they just, you'll fail and fail and fail and then accidentally beat it once. But I went and got the Catwoman trophies too, so I didn't solve all of the Batman riddles.
So you decided to finally show up, did you?
Let them go, Riddler. They're innocent.
Don't be stupid, Dark Knight. They wouldn't find themselves in the predicament they are currently in if they had tried to think just a few steps ahead now, would they? Now, if you solve the room ahead and 4 other equally challenging ones, you save them. If you don't, then they die. And we'll see if society crumbles at their passing.
You're insane.
No, that would imply either mental illness or derangement. I suffer from neither. Oh, and yes, I can see you, Batman, and I look forward to watching you play.
Well, that right there, I find kind of interesting, because the Riddler is actually deemed insane, even though he's got basically a deep-seated neurosis, and is extremely obsessive-compulsive. Now, being obsessive-compulsive in itself does not deem a person insane, but taken to the extreme that the Riddler does, he is completely out of his mind.
Hey, Batman!
This first room is not difficult, and as a matter of fact, the room after it isn't either. You can see the question mark over there opens a bridge. You run over to the other side. When you face this direction, there's 2 more, and it's not the one on the left, it's this one right here. And then run all the way around again. The portrayal of the Riddler in this game I really, really like, because they didn't make him as, like, he's not funny. He's not a comic like the Frank Gorshin Riddler from the 1966 TV show. Frank Gorshin was an impressionist and a stand-up comic, and when Jim Carrey did his portrayal of the Riddler in Batman Forever, obviously it's Jim Carrey. Everything Jim Carrey did, like in the first 10 years of his career, was extremely over the top. And granted, that's really condescending and irritating, but that's what the Riddler's supposed to be. He has this subconscious need to flaunt his intellectual superiority over everyone.
Why doesn't he just tell you what he wants?
Because he's insane.
And the silly dancing around that Jim Carrey did, and Frank Gorshin did for that matter, it worked. It wasn't the comic book Riddler necessarily, but it still worked. But I really like the portrayal of the Riddler in this game. They took that away and just made him the overbearing, obnoxious guy that just wants everybody to know how much smarter he is than they are.
The more there is, the less you see. What could I be?
And he gets really mad when you solve his riddles in these, even though they're really easy. The more there is, the less you see. Wonder what that could be. But he gets really mad when you figure these out.
Amazing! You actually solved my riddle. I suppose a reward is due.
Like the next one after this is really simple, the one after that's really simple, and he gets genuinely upset. He keeps calling you a cheater. But these rooms do get harder. Just like he said, he wasn't making that up. These rooms do get much harder. An interesting thing is that the Riddler... Oh yeah, when to get to the next room is not very far away from here. I usually just hug this wall. Just stick right to this wall and it's right around the corner. Then you cross over the church, come back this way, and it's right there. It's not even that far away. Interesting thing about the Riddler is that unlike a lot of Batman's villains, he's not necessarily a psychotic murderer. even though he's willing to cross boundaries in order to get his, to set his traps and set his riddles and not be too concerned with what happens as long as he gets to prove his intellectual superiority. For the most part, it's mind games. Whenever the Batman faces the Riddler, it's mind games. The actual crime itself is secondary.
Help me!
Okay, this room's easy.
All you need to do is keep your eyes on the prize.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Pretty much you just turn that on, and it's always the one on the left. Every time I've ever been through this, it's always been that one, so it doesn't change every time.
Shall we see if you were right? What? No. How did you do that?
Batman, over here! Get me out of this thing!
But I've heard several people that, you know, producers and directors and everything will all say they very rarely use the Riddler.
Thank you.
Like for TV shows or in films, he does have to come up because he's one of Batman's classic villains. He does have to come up every once in a while. But he doesn't get used very often because Edward Enigma, or Edward Nashton, as he was called originally, his crimes are so complex, and he's just so intelligent and just meticulously maps everything out. It's so difficult to create crimes for this guy. There's so much detail. Which, as long and as frustrating in this game as collecting these trophies and solving these riddles can be, it should be that way.
I have a head, a tail, but never any legs. Do you know what I am? There's no way you could have solved that one, Batman. Even I couldn't. You must have cheated. Consider this a warning. From here on in, it gets harder.
And that is true. Okay.
Well done, Dr.
You have a head, a tail, and no legs. Gee, wonder what that could be.
3 solved? It seems I underestimated your abilities. But before you start to feel superior, you should try and rescue my next hostage. Bring a towel.
And then we'll beat the next one, and he just gets increasingly angrier. But again, every one of Batman's conflicts with the Riddler, again, are usually more cerebral than physical. The Riddler is not a combatant. Whoa, excuse me. Didn't see that guy. Riddler's crimes are usually non-violent, and he's more of a robber. Usually his crimes, unlike in this, which he could completely care less whether his victims die or not, he's usually not a killer. He's usually a burglar who's got this deep-seated neurosis. He can't stop himself. And this is actually when he claims that he's not insane. He actually is, because he has this compulsion that he can't help to leave clues to his crimes for the police and for Batman. He can't stop himself. There have been a lot of stories about that. Because he doesn't want to go back to Arkham Asylum, so he has attempted to try to commit robberies without leaving a clue, and he can't. He can't help himself. Okay, this room is when it starts getting a little tricky.
I've done it. This is one puzzle you cannot solve. I've studied your techniques, reviewed your childish gadgets, and there is nothing in your arsenal that can help you beat this room. The hostage will die, and I will be victorious.
See, if you'll notice, there's no monetary gain. There's nothing for him to gain here other than proving that he's better than Batman intellectually. That's all he wants to prove.
What? How did you... Where did you... This is cheating. Do you hear me? Cheating!
Yeah. Well, if he really did review all of Batman's childish gadgets, he should have known that wouldn't have been any problem. Anyway, this one, you gotta pull that over so we can hit this switch. And oh yeah, you'll need the remote control batarang. no big deal. This room is the only one, really, and granted, the next few rooms after this do have some really tricky parts to them. But there's a part coming up right after this that still kind of throws me. Because there's a thing I used to do, and sometimes it would work and sometimes it wouldn't. And it's right around this corner. And I'm actually hoping it goes real smooth, because every once in a while you hit it and it just works out the way you want.
What's wrong, Dark Knight? Too much pressure?
Okay, this thing over here. There's a box on the floor on the bottom right. And you have to hit this, and a lot of times the box will just jump right over. Nope, see, and it's stuck. A lot of times when you hit that, yeah, and there's another one over here, that if it does keep getting stuck over there, all you gotta do is shoot the one on the left before the box drops again, and then it'll pull it back over. But I'm telling you, every once in a while, you hit this one and the box will just jump right over on its own. And that only works sometimes, and this one kind of frustrates me. A lot of times you get it up there, but obviously you have to do it faster than that. So wait, I'll push the box back over. I'm going to try one more time to get it to jump over. If not, I'll just do it the other way. And yeah, see, it almost made it. It almost made it. Okay, here we go. Pick it up and pull it over. Yeah. I was really hoping that that was going to work out, because it would have been really cool for this video, but no. Anyway, you have to push it forward onto this thing. And there we have the next hostage.
You're okay now. He gave you a number.
He did.
But again, I really like their depiction of the Riddler
What
in this
was it?
game.
It's important.
Instead of making him trying to
need
be
to remember
campy
them.
and comic, you know, just
Yes,
silly,
it was
like a comedian,
6x120.
he's actually dead
You need
serious
to rest
and
here and then
very
make your way back to the
irritating.
church if you feel up to it. I need to go after Riddler.
And extremely intelligent, which the Riddler is supposed to be. Only thing is that as intelligent as he is, his compulsiveness is what makes Batman defeat him every time. Because the Riddler is actually smart enough to outsmart the Dark Knight. He really can. He just has this disorder that he can't stop himself, and that's what gets him caught every time.
What am I?
Okay, once again, another really easy riddle.
Actually managed to complete enough challenges, Dark Knight. If you think you can hear me clapping, then you are... No, this is not happening. Did you cheat? Of course you did. It's the only way.
See?
Well,
He just gets
it is
increasingly
now.
angry.
Here's the next location.
And these are easy riddles.
You won't be able to cheat your way past this problem.
Okay, and the next room isn't that far off either, so... I'll tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and end this one right here.
No, you couldn't possibly have done that.
Because we still have some hostages and the Riddler himself.
You cheated. I know you cheated. Oh, this isn't over, Knight. Oh, no. Now things get far more difficult. People will die, and
Alright, thank you guys very much. I will see you next time.